Welcome to another Kung Fu podcast, Kung Fu Talk, Volume 5. Today, my guest is a very good friend of mine. We know each other for a long time.
Long time, long time.
Although we never have met personally, but through the internet, we know each other more than 10 years. I still was living in Asia by the time when we actually started talking to each other on the forums. So welcome, William Britt.
What's up, man?
How are you?
I'm doing well. Hope you are.
So for those who don't know, it's almost 3 a.m. here in Germany right now.
Yeah, and he's
So,
being very nice and waking up for me.
yeah, I mean, we do anything for martial arts.
Yes,
No problem.
absolutely.
Yeah. So William, you are a practitioner and a devoted practitioner of a very famous style, Hop-Ga-Kun. You
Yes,
you
sir.
say Hop-Ga-Kun or
But we just call Hopka.
Hop-Ga, just Hop-Ga.
Yeah,
Okay. It's
yeah,
like Hunga, Hop-Ga. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great, great. So for those who don't know, your Sifu is the legendary David Chin. And I mean, he's legendary. I mean,
Yeah.
he produced some real nice students. I remember I saw some videos from some Sanda tournaments of students of David Chin Sifu that
Yeah.
actually used their style in Sanda. I mean, you could tell, and that was always amazing to me. And that's yeah. So what I like to know is how you met David Chin. Do you remember like your first meeting and
Yes,
how you heard about him and stuff like that? Maybe you tell
yes.
us.
So I was a Hungar guy, actually. Well, first off, technically, I was like every other kid. I was a Taekwondo, karate. My dad was a black belt, so he trained me. Blah blah blah. When I was 17, I moved to Germany and I actually became a student of Andreas Garski in the Lamb family Hungar. I didn't get very far. I was only there for about maybe 6 months, maybe a little bit more, so not much. Then moved to Florida for college. Started under the Yee's family Hungar under Su Lang, who was a student of Pedro Sapero Yi, who's a student of Frankie Yichi Wai. Then moved to back home, so North Carolina, but then started learning Hungar under Omar Harvin in South Carolina. And then it was about a 2.5-hour drive there, 2.5-hour drive back. I was in college. That's a little hard to afford,
Yeah.
So I went on to everybody's favorite forum, the Namkun, or what's now ran by the Pavel Masek of Practical Humkun. And I said, hey, like I'm a college student, like this is hard to afford. Is there any schools around me, like close to me? And I put my location, and Pavel Masek actually said, how far away are you from Fayetteville, North Carolina? And I said, man, that's like a skip and a step. It's like 20 minutes away.
Yeah.
And he said, you need to get there now so you can meet the Grandmaster of Hop-Gar, David Chin. Here's how little I knew. My response, what's Hop-Gar? So Pavel was nice enough to start sending me some videos, and I saw videos of my now Sihing Chris Heinzman, who's the Zhengmongyun, the kind of the gatekeeper now. Like he's the head of our style now that my Sifu has passed. And it couldn't be in better hands. My Sihing is a monster.
Yeah.
But so I saw that. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I called up David Chin. Nice guy, real thick Chinese accent. Obviously, he was an elderly Chinese gentleman, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you can come and visit me." And I said, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, what have you done before?" "Oh, well, I've done Hungar." "Oh, you've done Hungar, so Tiger Crane." I said, "No, I never got that far. I never even finished Gongji. I didn't get that far. I'm not that bright." So he's like, "Well, why don't you come on down?" All right. So I went. And I took my dad, because my dad was like, "Oh, we're going to meet a Kung Fu master." So we go to the school that night, and I walk in, and I see students. I now know who they are, but they were sparring. What blew my mind was that they were, like you said earlier, they were using the techniques. And I was like, what's these? And so I go in there and I sit down and I talk with Sifu Chen, and he's telling me, oh yeah, you know, you should join the class, blah, blah, blah. And then he asks one of his top students, Robert Kimes, who's another one of my Sihings, say, hey, why don't you go work out with him? All right. So my first exposure, mind you, to hop guard, Robert Kimes, my Sihing, takes his hand, shoves it in my face, and then proceeds to cut choi me right on the top of the head. And I was like, ho, ho, ho. You know, and he was like, try to stop it. I was like, oh, okay. He proceeds to chase me, like literally chase me around the school. And I'm like, whoa. It was eye-opening, to say the least. And since then, yeah, that's how I met Sifu Chen, and I ended up a couple years into it. I ended up becoming I buy seed to him. You know, I did the the hitting the head on the ground, all that fun stuff, and I became one of Sifu Chen's indoor disciples. So yeah, that's actually you know, it's backwards, but you know, David Chen's Kung Fu Center.
Oh, for me, it's not backwards.
oh, okay. Well, then there you go.
yeah, it's nice. It's nice. Yeah, this is this is great story. And Pavel again, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Pavel also not introduced me, but Pavel suggested to me to meet my Sifu too.
Really?
Yeah, he said he's great because at the time I was still there, and he's great. Gotta visit him, and you know, yeah. So.
Well, he's the matchmaker of student to Sifu.
The matchmaker, yeah.
Yeah, he's the matchmaker. Now, I will say this: I recently, I'm sure you know of my Sifu's book.
Man, I think I have that book. I have that book as a PDF. Now I remember.
Yeah, that's my Sifu. So after my Sifu passed, I was looking through his book and I found this.
Wow.
He said, will Britt keep up with this Kung Fu? And he signed his name, the date. So this was a couple months after I started. So May 20th, I'm sorry, May 5th, 2010. Yeah. And then he signed his name in Chinese as well.
Nice. You didn't see that when you got it?
Well, I remember. So I saw him do it because I bought the book after I started. I was like, oh my God, you know, so I found this book online and I bought it. I took it to him and he was like, oh, you know, he like signed it for me. And I just remembered it. Yeah, so yeah. I'm thinking about how to get that framed. Yeah. Without damaging the book. Like I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm figured out.
Or maybe you just scan that part. Mm-hmm. You scan it into, you know, you scan it and then print it out, and then you don't have to hang up the book, you know, maybe. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, I got notes, you know, underline notes, yeah. all that kind of stuff in here that I, you know, just took over the years.
Yeah. So nice. Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. To have something personal, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's it brought a little bit of a tear to my eye. I won't front. You know, if I need to sacrifice some man points, I'll sacrifice some man points. You know.
No, it's not. It's. I mean, I can tell that you've been close, and I mean, I just can feel your pain in a way. Like I lost my Qigong last year in December.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and it's the hardest thing, you know. And
yeah.
How old was your Sifu when he passed?
So when he passed, he was 77.
Oh,
I was with him the year he passed.
Yeah.
Was my 10th year with him. So not very long, actually.
10 years.
There are other students that have been with him for like 20 years, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But
you probably dedicated a lot of time to learn from him, and so
severely. Much to my parents' dismay, at some point, you know, now they're okay with it. Back in the day, probably not the best.
Yeah, I was like that too.
Yeah.
Dedicated a lot of time, especially when I was younger, in martial arts, and neglected everything else.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, you choose what's more important, and then you sacrifice everything else for it. So yeah.
So now I tell my students not to do the same.
Yeah, don't follow my footsteps. Don't follow
otherwise
my
they
footsteps.
will end up doing podcasts, this, that, videos, and you know,
hey,
get along.
it's probably fun. Just screw COVID, but it's probably fun, right?
Oh yeah, that is fun. That is fun. That's like, I probably never would have had the idea without COVID to make these podcasts and stuff. You know, I mean, I'm just starting, to be honest. I mean, that's the 5th one, but it's fun, you know, because so far, or everyone I did a podcast with, I knew already before, like a long time, right? So it's but with a lot of them, like I think it's the first time that we really talk like face to face.
Yes, this is the first time we've, you know, done this.
Yeah, so that's the same with Alberto Biraghi, for example.
I enjoyed that episode. I've watched every single one of yours.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you.
And I plan on continuing to watch them.
Yeah, I plan on to continue doing more. We'll see. I got some nice got some nice ones lined up, but I will never talk about it until it's recorded.
Yeah.
But so you what was the first things? I mean, you had already some good foundation because you practice Hung Kun, you like what you said, and other martial arts. So you were not like you know, you knew how to move and could probably pick up stuff fast. But what was the first things you've learned?
So in the Hop-Gar system, as my Sifu teaches it, there's 4 ideas. There's 4 styles.
Yeah.
That's law horn, which is what's commonly associated with like the Shaolin type stepping, you know, that single, like that, you know, you're in that horse stance and you switch to bow and you kind of chase like that, like chole foot, honga, you know, all that kind of stuff. There's white crane, which is like the, you know, like this type of stuff. Where like the Moi Fa Zhong that you've, you know, I've posted those videos of me on that stuff. You use the white crane with that type of movement. Then there's Datmo, which is like pressure point, like more precision based striking. And then there's Wei To, which is our family interprets it a little differently than probably other families do. But what my Sifu focuses on, especially at the very beginning, is the law horn stepping, like the more chole foot looking things. Now Hop-Gar obviously has some of that, obviously. But the reason he focuses on that is just because it builds strong basics, like a strong waist, you know, and you learn how to kind of chase with that type of stepping. And it can get pretty powerful, obviously. So that's how my Sifu would teach you at the beginning. And then he would use Hop-Gar hands with that type of footwork. So you're still getting the idea of the Hop-Gar techniques, but more of a straight in versus the angular, you know, like going around versus going straight. So that's how he would focus. And then once you got past that, not necessarily past that, but once you kind of grasped it a little bit, then he'll start to teach the more, you know, Hop-Gar looking things. If that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense perfectly. That's great. So for people, let's say that don't know, who couldn't tell the difference between styles like Hong Kun, Wing Chun, Hap Kun, or Hapka. What makes Hapka what it is? You know, what makes Hapka being Hapka?
So, you know, every style kind of has its creation myth.
Yes.
You know, Hungar, the Southern Shaolin, Hong Haegun, you know, and continues GCSMC, you know, continues down that lineage, ends up Hong Haegun ends up marrying Feng Wing Chun, you know, blends a tiger crane, and then you all that stuff. So our creation myth is a Tibetan monk. Some might not think he might be Tibetan. He might be modern day Tibetan, but he was actually Chinese.
Yeah.
And my Sifu explained it to where he wanted to go to Shaolin because, you know, Shaolin's famous, but he could not afford it. And not necessarily monetary, but he just couldn't make that trek. So he wanted to learn Kung Fu. He wanted to learn something. And he ended up witnessing a fight between a white crane and an ape. And he, I won't go too much into it just because it can get a little, you know, esoteric.
Yeah.
But it's like, you think the crane's going to get destroyed because it's an ape. But the crane actually, like, you know, dodges and like swings past and then takes its beak and goes, hi-ya, like right into the eye of the ape, which obviously is amazing to see if that's actually the case. So our style is based on the ape and the crane, whereas other styles, like, again, Honga is the tiger and crane, and then Wing Chun is snake and crane. But interestingly enough, if you look at Tai Chi, some creation myths of Tai Chi is also snake and crane. So,
okay.
yeah, you know, so that's ours. And when my Sifu was asked why our style looks the way it does, he always talks about the Moifao Zhong, which are those plum flower posts in the ground. Yeah. And the story goes that Wang Yan Lum, who is, as we show the top tiger of the 10 tigers of Canton,
yeah,
spent like 12 years on them. Like 10 to 15, I think like 12 is like the accepted time. He spent that much time on them, just perfecting it. And his Kung Fu came from that. Obviously he had, you know, he learned, he was a monster with it, but he perfected the art because of the Moifao Zhong. So that heavily influences the way we step, the way we generate power, the way we strike, the angles we take, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The general theory and philosophy.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So I see you, I forgot the name now, but you have some certain training methods to build up strength too, right? Using these, how do you call them?
Maki-Pai?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yes. So the Maki-Pai, they're a little hard to explain without being able to show them.
Yeah.
But they're pretty much just wooden Maki-Pai, wooden ear plates.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's necessarily it, but it translates to ear. I don't know if that's actually it. But so you swing them, and one of so a lot of people ask, well, can you do that with kettlebells? Technically, yes. Will you develop the same type of strength? Absolutely not. Because with the kettlebell, naturally you hold it and it does this, you know, and you swing it and it does this. With the Maki-Pai, while you're swinging it, you want to keep it straight the whole time. So your forearm ends up, I don't know, you know, like all that type of stuff, you know. Yeah. So, and then even the hand, I don't know if you can necessarily see it, but like the hand gets developed as well, just from gripping, you know, gripping that hard thing. Well, my Sifu explains it as well, is as opposed to keeping the energy here and having to learn how to release the energy, because you're constantly squeezing something here, it keeps the power, well, here.
Yes.
And yeah, again, it can go even further, but that's the general idea. Again, without the maki pai, sorry, I don't have any on me. Without the maki pai though in hand, it's a little hard to explain.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I hope that was at least somewhat acceptable.
Yeah, but it develops the power in the forearm and the fist.
Yes. I'm sorry. It also kind of coordinates everything.
Yeah.
So it just helps develop the whole body power. If you go and watch myself do them on my social media, if you go and watch my Sihings do it on their social media or on their YouTube pages, you'll see what I mean. It gets the whole body, because the whole body doesn't stop until the movement's finished, and then it starts again, and the whole body's moving until the whole thing's finished. So it trains everything, but it becomes most obvious in the forearm and the hand. But it trains
everything. Yeah, the core also, I reckon. They have like different weights,
Yes, they do. They have, obviously they got lighter and heavier weights.
Yeah, yeah.
There are naturally some things that you want to keep in mind. So like the heavier you get, naturally the stronger you'll become. However, the problem my Sifu would talk about is it's okay to use heavier weights, but you want to be very careful on how you do them, because you want to maintain the flexibility, the elasticity of the shoulder, and the relaxation. If it gets too heavy, you end up kind of
the shoulders will become stronger though, but probably also stiff.
Exactly. And we have the pao choys, the cup choy, all that stuff. So it requires an incredibly flexible shoulder. So, and also with the power that we use, it requires us to get very long, very long. And if you're tense, you can't. So you end up slowing down, you end up holding on to the power, and so it doesn't transfer out. So yeah, that again, if you're smart about how you do it, you can absolutely train heavier weights. You just need to know what you're doing and then balance it with the lighter ones. Because my Sifu would be like, well, why would you increase weight when you can just increase reps?
Right.
Like, so when I do the maki pai, for example, I'm kind of nursing an injury to like some tendons right around here. But what I tend to do is I tend to do all the punches, but for like 5 minutes straight. I just put on 5 minutes, and I put on a little timer. I have my music going, and I just go. Bam, 5 minutes is up. All right, cool. Next punch, 5 minutes. Like that kind of thing. Most people can't even do that for a minute. My Sifu would always joke about, he's like, man, you use those maki pai so much, you're going to start carrying them around as weapons. But again, each thing has its benefit. Each thing has its result, I guess. It all depends on what you're wanting, I guess.
Yeah. But you could say that like as a training tool, like Wing Chun has the wooden dummy. I don't know what we have, but
iron rings.
Iron rings. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, iron rings is good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I understand where you're coming from with the iron rings. The iron rings. Some Hung Gar people do Tibetean Kun with iron rings, and
I've seen that. Yeah.
I'm totally thinking this is totally wrong.
Really?
Yeah, because when you get to the point doing Tibetean Kun, right? You can do the Gungji or Fu-Hop with iron rings, no problem. But I think Tibetean Kun is different, because Tibetean Kun is all about breathing, hard and soft.
Okay.
And the iron rings will prevent you from doing that. You know,
Mm.
you will focus on fighting, or you're not fighting against, but you know,
The resistance.
they will distract you from doing the movements properly. And Tetsunkun is very important, you know. But I don't think you should do Tai Chi with wrist weights or whatever, you know. Like,
Yeah.
so you can't do that what you're supposed to do with iron
Yeah.
rings on, you know. So
Yeah. If it counterbalances what you're trying to do, then why do it? Yeah, exactly.
So Gunji, no problem, because that's the bang out your movements, and you know, and then have the iron rings on. Yeah, that's cool, you know. But nowadays, I just do drills with iron rings.
Mhm.
But so these wooden things that you could say is kind of you can kind of attach that to the white crane style that you see
Yeah,
that.
yes, absolutely. Like I know David Rogers Sifu of the Dang family Hopgar, they have the Sei pie. I might be saying that wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. But it's the stone ones. Obviously, stone is much heavier than wood, so they you know, they use it a little differently than we do the lighter ones. Again, it builds different things. I mean, they're freaking monsters. You know, like they're beasts because of it. So the yi-pai, be it stone or wooden, is synonymous, like you're saying, with like the Tibetan, you know, hopgar, lama pai, and then the white crane. I've seen some Pakok pai lineages use them as well, and every time I see them, I'm like, like, oh my god, authenticity. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I have some good friends in the Philippines that practice white crane.
Really? What lineage of white crane?
It's, man, I'm sorry, I forgot his name, but it's quite. This guy has a bold, very strong guy from Hong Kong, Chinese guy. What's his name? Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
that's
yeah. That guy's
that's a beast.
Dear God. And then his Italian student.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one. And that's the lineage.
Yes.
And
Yes.
my friend William Soon Sifu, he is also a student of this guy.
Got you. Okay. Now I actually have. I feel so bad. I cannot remember the Italian student's name. Very
exactly
talented guy.
I saw him and his guys in Hong Kong once. They were practicing in Kowloon Park.
Okay.
They were in Hong Kong at the same time when I was in Hong Kong with some of my students, and they just waved at each other. Yeah,
hello.
but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I got, so he recently did a book on the Pakok of his Sifu, and I got the English version. In fact, it's actually at my office right now. At work. So you know, whenever I'm between cases or something, I'll be like, oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right.
So yeah.
Yeah, nice. So there are also many families, right? Like in Hungar, you obviously have all these families, and
yes.
So you can say the same also is in the white crane style, right?
Yes. My Sifu kind of viewed it as 4 distinct lineages.
Okay.
He said there's obviously the Lama Pai, the Pakok Pai, the Dang family Hopgar, because they have a lot of Hungar influence, and then the Ing family, so Ing Yim Ming, you know, which is my Sifu's lineage. He said, and obviously each of them are great. You know, they all personify what they want to personify. They might view things a little differently, but ultimately there's more similarities than there are differences. And obviously that's what you want. And everyone's going to have their own little personal spin on it. So yeah.
Same as in Hong Kong, you know, everyone has a little something extra or different.
Yeah, and you post a lot of videos like Hong Kong One Family.
Yeah.
I'll watch those.
I always tell my students, if you have time, check out all the Hungar families. You know,
Absolutely.
it's beautiful. You know, it's beautiful to see the differences because there's no wrong or right or better, or you know, it's just different. You know, and people people are different. The I can tell my students, you don't move like I will move. You will not move the way I move because you're a little shorter
Mhm.
or bigger than me or whatever, you know. So you will move differently, you know. You can't copy me. I can tell you how to do it, or you know, I can show you the technique, but you have to do it, you know, and then you will see you develop your own character of movement, and so it's nothing because they say why they do this that way, why they do it wrong, and they say no, they don't do it wrong, they do it,
Yeah.
they have their own way, you know. It's you, like your favorite color is green and his favorite color is blue, so you know.
And my favorite color is green. So,
Oh, it
it
is.
works. It
Oh,
works.
great.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't have a favorite color actually. I don't know. I never thought about
Well,
that, to be honest.
man, I'm a big Power Ranger fan, and colors are a big thing in Power Rangers. So,
Okay, great.
yeah.
I
um,
mean, we I think we met on the martial art forum, but I think we also met, or we kind of were on the same forums. You also like the movies, right? I
yeah.
mean,
Oh God, yes. Oh my God,
yeah,
bruh.
yeah,
Okay, so let me tell you this. Okay, I know you'll be able to appreciate this. What got me into Kung Fu? Okay, not Taekwondo, not Muay Thai. What
yeah,
got me into Kung Fu was seeing Chi Quan Chun in Five Shaolin Masters.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
That was so cool. I was like, I want to do that.
It's
Oh
good.
my God. Chi Quan Chun is the freaking man.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, the show, all these old Shaw Brother movies, and
Oh man.
always like
But
inspiring and motivating me too. You know.
hey, whenever I I'll so we do a lot of I'm probably butchering this, but John Zhuang. So standing post meditation. It's very common in like Tai Chi, Xingyi,
Yeah.
Agua, Ichuan. Whenever I do that stuff, dude, I put on a movie. I got like Shaw Brothers playing. I'm like, oh, yeah. Like an hour and a half goes by, and I'm so yeah, yeah.
So
In fact,
yeah, you know, you have all these movies that have like Hong Kong in it. Obviously, a
mhm.
lot of, you know, we can't complain about having Hong in movies, but how about White Crane? If I try to remember now,
I watched so recently. I actually watched. I can Google. I can find it if you want me to, but I found it online. Someone was saying it was Chan Hok Fu's son, if I remember correctly. That was kind of like one of the main stars of the film.
oh,
It was interesting, and you could definitely see the Pak Hawk. You could definitely see the White Crane in the film.
oh,
Um, I know there was also the Llama Avenger. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
yes, yes, yes,
Yeah. Was it Lee Hoi San? Is that his name? Lee Hoi
yes,
San?
you know, his son.
Yeah, he was the villain, and he was a llama pie guy, and he was using llama pie,
It's
and he
crazy,
was
you know,
whooping
if you
up.
think about it, he's the Wing Chun guy. You really,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He's a Wing Chun man, but he was using llama pie, and it was really
yes,
cool.
yes, I remember.
That there aren't many. Now I did see the God, what is that? It recently came out on HBO. It was a Chinese, and it was about like the white. Was it Wang Yanlam? I don't think it was Wang Yanlam, but it was like where it was supposed to be like this mystery intrigue piece, and they were saying that it was supposed to be like White Crane Llama Pie, and I think he did like 3 techniques,
Okay,
just 3. Everything
okay,
else was your stereotypical like wushu type stuff.
yeah.
Um,
You know,
so yeah.
there's a black and white movie with, I think with actually with my goodness, it's still early. Man, what's his name? I could tell his name in my sleep. The one who always play Wong Fei Hung.
Oh, Kwanta King.
Kwanda King. Kwanda King has a movie or did a movie or made a movie in that time, you know, maybe in the 50s or 60s. It's a white crane movie.
Really?
Yeah, I saw some pictures, and it even has the name White Crane in it in the title.
Wow. Now, speaking of Kwanta King, I don't know if you knew this or not, but he was actually classmates with Yin Ming.
Yeah. Oh no, I didn't know, but I knew he's a White Crane practitioner. I knew that he's not a Hungar.
Yeah. He and Yin Ming were actually was it? I think it was the Peking Opera. They were actually brothers in that. And to the point where Kwanta King told my Sifu, you need to keep going with Yin Ming's Moi Fa Zhong because that's the genuine Hop-Gar Kung Fu.
Yeah.
So, you know, cool little, you know, little like nuggets.
He's been in America a lot, right? Kwanda King.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
I think he's been there a lot. I remember seeing. Okay. So while we talk, I was on this page HKMD.
Okay.
HKMDB.com.
Okay.
The movie is from the 50s and it's called The White Crane Hero.
The White Crane Hero.
Yeah.
Is there any way to watch that, or at least that we know of?
Unfortunately, I don't know, and I've never. I'm just trying to find this. He made so many movies.
But isn't he still in the Guinness Book of World Records?
Yeah, I think so. Here, The White Crane Heroes from 1956, and there's also a poster, but the quality is very bad. But I saw some picture where you see that he actually has some White Crane movements there. But I have never seen this movie, and I think it's probably like I'm still searching that one movie also from Kwanta King called The Story of Wong Fei Hung and Lam Sai Ring.
Yes.
I'm still
You still haven't found that?
Nah.
Because I know I remember watching the Lau Kao Young video where you saw Lao Jam doing the first
little part. Yes.
Yeah. I saw that part and I was like, ooh.
Yeah, but he actually demonstrates the complete Fu Hok set. And
that would be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, and also support, because I went to the Hong Kong Film Archives when I was in Hong Kong a long time ago already, and they have these little leaflets, this little movie, that back in the days you probably always was getting some little, no booklet.
Yeah, like little brochure, like pamphlet type stuff. Yeah.
And so they were saying that this movie was, I think that it was like also at the same time anniversary or something for Lam Sai Ring's birthday or something like that. Forgot, but so that's why they have a lot of Hunga in this movie, and like Lao Jam presents the complete Fu Hok first time on movie. That's how they said it there, because someone was translating this piece and supposed to have Lam Jo in it too, doing long pole.
Yeah, I was going to say, I forgot who you were talking to, but I overheard during your podcast, you were talking about how it's supposed to have Lao Jam and Lam Jo. So that's pretty cool. If that was found, that'd be like a pretty nice treasure.
Right. And Lau Ka-Jung was presenting the movie on this where I got this footage from, right? He was presenting this movie, or at least some parts of the movie, at this, what was this, like a Wong Fei Hung festival, movie festival,
something like that. Because there was also that person from the Mak Guai Lan, lineage, and then Tang Fong lineage as well.
So the movie exists definitely. So I asked him, but maybe he didn't understand me. I know his English is not all that, so I don't know. But, I hope one day I'll find it.
Yeah.
So I just sent you this movie from the movie The White Crane Hero in the chat part here. I don't know if you can see that. Is it sent?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, I can.
yeah, yeah. So that it's not super clear, but
interesting. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So you see the white character for white,
Mm-hmm.
big White Crane Heroes, yeah. And then you could say there's like the on the left side, the picture in the middle, that
Mm-hmm.
he's doing some, I think it's like a crane beak
Mm-hmm.
pose there. So yeah, so maybe now you got what's my story of Wong Hui Hong Lam Sa Wing is going to be.
Yeah, now we got it. Now the Hopgar Lama Pai Pakok people have their own. Yeah,
I mean,
that's fun.
Look at this production company, White Crane Athletic Association. Cinema Kerm, is that has he anything to do? The name is there.
White Crane Athletic Association.
Yeah. There might be some White Crane practitioners in the movie, you know. Oh,
Yeah,
Lao
that's
Ga Lam
true.
is in the movie.
Oh,
And Yuan Xiu Tian is in the movie as well.
oh wow. Okay,
So man, that's something we have to look for.
that's true. Hopefully we'll figure it out. Keyword hopefully.
These old movies, the problem is that they never were released on anything like DVD, VHS, or whatever. Maybe they weren't on Hong Kong TV, you know. But
Yeah.
it's very hard to find these now.
Yeah, I remember. So I'm also a big like Godzilla enthusiast.
Yeah.
So you know, for a while, obviously the original Godzilla is 1954, still an amazing film.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and I know there's a lot of films from that era that did not survive. Like they just got bombed and all. You know, natural disasters occurred and took them
Yeah.
out.
Oh, crazy. So
Yeah,
let's go back to yeah. So people could tell we are it's more than
yeah,
martial arts.
yeah,
We have quite
yeah.
a big interest
Yes,
for anything related to martial arts. Movies have
absolutely.
always been a big part of my martial arts journey.
Mhm.
You know, always been interested in that too. You know,
Same,
very
same.
important.
I even did a, if I remember correctly, I did a 15-page paper on the Challenge of the Masters film.
Wow, yeah, that's one
And
of my favorites.
in college, you know, it was talking about like movies that inspire you. Or I forgot the actual topic, but I ended up doing a paper on Challenge of the Masters.
Wow.
And then I referenced as well Martial Club.
Yes. These are one of my favorite Lau Ga Leung movies.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. They're
Challenge of the Masters. I told Lau Ga Leung when I met him once. He asked me what's it. He asked me actually what's which of his movies I like most, and I said right away, Challenge of the Masters.
Really? That's your favorite?
That's definitely one of my I like the whole. I like the whole thing when they go in the remote area and
Yes.
train there, and you know, I like this whole thing, the whole sequence. And
My favorite was always Martial Club.
yeah, Martial Club is kind of then he already know martial arts and he's already, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, but yeah, definitely.
Like that end fight. Oh my god.
Yeah, the fight is crazy.
Oh my god.
Small alleyway using Titin Kun.
Oh my god. Yeah. And he went through all the animals. He went through, like the long bridges, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Like that was super cool. And Wang Long Wai, that's a talented dude too. That's a
Yeah,
talented.
but you can tell he can fight. I think
Oh god, yes. Yeah, Wang.
that he was, yeah, Wang Long fight, that he's a good fighter for real, you know, like
Yeah. And I remember watching an interview where he was like, man, like I keep getting asked to use this kung fu stuff, but I can actually fight using, you know, like
Yeah,
kickboxing and stuff.
yeah.
So
And he's still active, you know. Sometimes I think I'm being friend with him actually on Facebook.
really,
Yeah, he's there. And sometimes posting some stuff. And, yeah.
I'll see like random TVB clips, and you know,
Yeah.
I've seen some David Chang stuff within the past, you know, couple years. I don't know. It's probably older than that, but yeah. I'll call God, what is this? The Wing Chun guy who also does like the mantis. The guy that his fingers always looked like that.
Ah,
The guy whose fingers always looked like this. Beardy.
Lau Gao Yan.
Yeah. He I know he's still been doing movies if I remember correctly.
Yes, he's still there.
Yeah.
He was in like one of the spin-off Yip-Man movies. I think he was the shop owner there.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was a shop owner in the
There was like a spin-off movie with from part 3, Yip-Man 3.
something like that. Yes.
I think Master Z or something like that have a weird.
Yes. Yeah, he owned the umbrella shop. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's
That was, I enjoyed that film. That was a pretty good film.
Yeah, me too. So let's talk about let's go back to what we talk about. I've seen some videos of David Chin students, and that's already a long time ago when I saw these videos, and I was really impressed that these guys were actually using all these long-range techniques in Sanda fights. It's real, man. I was really impressed and really inspired by that, you know, and because I have some students doing Sanda fighting in Sanda tournaments and stuff, you know, and trying to incorporate these long range techniques, you know. Maybe it's just also build a bridge to get close, you know. It's really nice, and I was really impressed by that. And I was always wondering, was that like your Sifu telling them, you know, how that, you know, because most people when they do Sanda, they just do Sanda, you know, like kicking, boxing, you know, throwing, which is a good thing, but if you do a style, maybe it's not too bad if you could incorporate your style into when you have to fight, you know.
So my Sifu from day one teaches long range striking, the long punches. Day one. So every student ends up kind of finding their own strike. I have 3 strikes that my Sifu was an interesting guy, to say the least. I remember getting cussed out in front of everybody because I was using the same 3 techniques. He would tell me, he said, "Will, everyone knows you can land those techniques. Now find other ones." And what those were, my 3 techniques were the chun choi, the pa kick, so like, you know, a little thing right here, and then the pal choi, because I'd always charge in with, you know, like that type of stuff. I remember getting cussed out by my Sifu because I wouldn't use something else. Again, he just drills them, and everyone ends up finding it. Robert Kimes, the one that I told you about that did the here and then SmackDown, he is. We have the. Don't even. Oh my God, I can't remember the Chinese names, but here and then come across. That is his. Oh my God, you're getting hit with him. Anytime you spar with him, you're getting struck. I'm sorry, that it sucks to be you. He's made me see stars. So yeah. I mean, we have another Kung Fu brother. He's really good at the spinning back fist, the spinning gua choi. Really good with it. There's another brother. He's really good with the corkscrew, the chet choi. I've seen. I don't know, but again, he's really good with that. And then he'll come through. I mean, and he'll come through and then come up like like a stretch punch. Jet. I can't remember. It's late, but yeah. So I mean, everyone ends up finding their own thing to work with them.
Yeah.
But again, that's all you train in that school. I don't ever remember training a jab or a cross. So because those aren't in your arsenal, you don't use them. And also, here's another thing. Sifu will cuss you out in front of everybody if you don't use if you don't use the Kung Fu. I remember, like, another thing is a lot of people, they'll do like 1, 2, and then throw a kick like 3. So 3, maybe 4 strikes total. My Sifu would cuss me out in front of everybody if I did not throw minimum 7 to 9 strikes. Minimum.
Yeah.
So
way to go.
Yeah.
That's the way.
So that's how we end up using those techniques a lot, because that's kind of the only things we're taught. So I mean, everyone knows how to throw a jab, and we end up using different techniques to fill those voids, like the pa kick, the wing flip punch. I use that sometimes as a jab, and then other times I'll jab with it and then immediately come back with another one and strike. So again, every student ends up kind of finding out how to use their stuff, as long as you obviously put in the time and the effort.
That's quite interesting. Do you have something like, if I remember correctly, the guys in Philippines, they have, like, I'm not sure if it was 12 or 14, I think 14, like 14 seats or something, these are the basic strikes.
Oh, yeah. So we have 12 long hands, 12 short hands.
Ah, okay. Ah, nice.
Yeah. And obviously variations within. Yeah. So 12 short hands, 12 long hands, and that's pretty much the whole system.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, I've seen these in the Philippines. They have like a basic you basically stand like in a small horse stance, and then the first exercise is this, when you turn your body, but then you have that.
Yeah. We don't have anything along that line. I mean, we train each individual technique, if that's what you're asking, but not necessarily in a set manner.
Yeah,
it's just kind of
not a set. It's like they have like 12 exercises, you call 14.
Oh, okay.
And each of the exercises contains either, let it be to increase the waist power, or the techniques, the power choice and whatever is all there, cup choice and
So what my Sifu would do is, like, for example, for each of the 12 long hands, you would use, some of them are open hands, so you can't really do this, but most of them you would end up using the maki pai with them. So you end up training that specific movement, that plane of movement, like the pao choi, you get the gua and then come bam and then bam, like that kind of thing. And you're having those maki pai in your hands the whole time. So naturally you develop chun chois, gua chois. Again, I on my social media, my Sifu was like, all right, I need you to start posting stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So I started posting like little maki pai videos here, little maki pai videos there. Like maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds of it.
Yeah. I've seen some of these.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of how we train each specific one.
That's nice. It's nice. So the style, do you have like many sets
So as far as my Sifu before he passed, my Sifu teaches a few different styles.
Yeah.
But his main styles were obviously his Tai Chi and his Hop Gar, which is the one he's most well known for. In the Hop Gar system, I'm sure he had more sets at one point, but I learned 2 sets to fit to hand forms, and then he was like, "That's pretty much it." Now, he taught me techniques that weren't in those sets, and then the Moi Fa Zhong, the plum flower poles. There is a set pattern to learn how to do them, and then after you've mastered that base set pattern, then you just go. You step here, step there, step anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
But you have to get that base set pattern down, or you do not move correctly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. So yeah, I mean, that sounds actually cool, you know, having not too many sets, you know.
No, my Sifu would always say the first set, the one that you've seen me on the poles doing, the single wing flip form, that is the most important set in the entire system. Everything else can be added on to it, but if you want to learn how to fight using the Kung Fu, all you need is that one set. That's it. Yeah.
If you visit the page, the Hapka page, there's a video of your Sifu demonstrating a form.
Is old Futka?
Yeah, that's a Fatka form. Okay.
Let me, like, black and white footage, right?
Yeah. Is that from?
And Sifu's in like a white shirt. Yeah. That's an old Futka from which he learned from Ma Sik.
Okay.
Yeah, he stopped teaching those a while back.
Okay.
Yeah, Ma Sik himself was a freaking monster. I mean, if you find the video of Ma Sik, his forearms.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
Okay.
Yeah. He was a.
But it's great to have this old footage, like from, I think it says from 1959 or something. This is pretty old footage, you know.
Yeah, I remember I talked to Sifu about that form, and he was like, you know, I mean, he said it's good stuff. He said, but I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember it.
It is. I mean, you know, I'm glad I have a lot of students that with me for a long time already, like literally 10 years, like since I'm back here in Germany. And the young started really young, like 5 years, 6 years old, and now they're like 18 or 17, you know, but they with me like 10 years, and they basically learned almost everything already. Not all, but all the important stuff. And but sometimes I mean, some of the sets I have not practiced for a long time, especially when it comes to weapon sets. And I remember roughly everything, but sometimes I feel like my walking hard drives, you know, they remember everything, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, the little walking encyclopedias.
Yeah. So how because some of the sets I start to, you know, because as older you get, you teach the main sets, and you have the seniors teaching the new ones, the weapon sets, and you know, it's like, so it's also sometimes my memory.
Oh man, like, so the last set that I learned, the 7-star form, I finished that set a couple years ago. It got to a certain point where you see me ending it. I don't know if you saw where I performed it in Florida at the Lee Kun Hong Cholefoot Memorial thing. So that's actually not the whole set. My Sifu could not remember the rest of the set. And the other students were having a hard time remembering the rest of the set. And then my Sifu looked at me and he goes, I know it's just more of the same technique, so just stop it there. Just, that's it. That's the bow out, and that's the form. oh, okay. And from that point on, he was having me teach the other students that form. So, you know, my Sifu was someone who paid a lot of attention to, you know, practicality, like don't overbog yourself with materials, because then you, like, why waste 5 minutes on that and 5 minutes on that when you can take away that 5 minutes and make this 10 minutes, you know, like this is much more important. You don't even need this, you know.
It's true. It's true. I mean, the Hungar sets are pretty long, as you know, the main sets, and those I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Those I can wake up and you tell me do this, and I right away can do that, because these are like in my DNA now. But some of the other sets, like I don't know, like the straight sword. You know, I learned it for my Sifu in a few days when he was here in Germany. Actually, I just wanted to learn it to teach it to the girls in our school. You know, and I taught it to a few, and then I never practiced anymore. And now I couldn't. I just know the beginning, and then I already have to think.
Yeah, yeah. The girls will come back and teach you.
Yeah, if I need it, but
yeah. I remember my Sifu was wanting me to learn a Tai Chi sword set, and he was going to have my Sihing teach it to me. And all of a sudden, he looked at me one day and he was like, "Nah, you don't need it. You already got enough. Just keep doing what you're doing." Okay, you know. And I went on back to what I was doing. Sifu was a very pragmatic individual. Very pragmatic. That's just how he was.
Yeah.
And I could go into much more detail.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah.
But he's you know, for many that are seriously practicing martial arts and are also kind of now look at other styles, and David Chin always was someone I adored, or I thought is a man. How I wish there's some others like YC Wong. I would love to meet him one day, but I mean, I don't know how big the chances are right now. You know, not being able to travel, and then I mean, he's not the youngest anymore, and but that's also another person I really think is great. You know, like one of the greats.
My Sifu and YC Wong were actually very good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw some footage of YC Wong's school. And I love that. I love that flavor of the school. You know, I think it's like in the basement or something. You know, you go like a few steps down.
Something like that. Yeah.
Chinatown, right? It's in Chinatown, San Francisco. I saw some footage. It looked to me like it goes downstairs, not very deep, but it was like a basement school. I have some footage. I've seen some footage. Yeah. Yeah. But I love these kind of schools. You know, the like little hidden. You know.
So let me tell you about my Sifu school. So you go to his house, okay?
Yeah.
And then you'll notice a big open yard in the back, and then this giant warehouse looking thing in the backyard. That was it. That was his school. He had this giant warehouse on his property, and he just turned it into a school.
That's nice.
I mean, dude, I'll tell you, I remember learning stuff in his kitchen. So, like, I remember Sifu would be cooking, and he'd be like, "Come here." All right. And I'd come over. He's like, "Do this." Okay. And then he'd like hit me, and I would go flying and like slam into his door. He's like, "How'd that feel?" "Oh my God. Like, give me a minute." I was like, "Oh, that wasn't good. Stop pretending." I'm the one with the bruises. Like, who is pretending?
I have a funny story. When I've learned you know, the night tiger set. The way my Sifu teach it is in two parts. Not in parts, it's in two sets.
Yes,
It's
yes, yes, yes.
it's a night tiger and it's a fierce tiger, right?
Okay.
So but now I I do this in one, you know, like in one long set. And you know that movement we talked about it earlier, that one.
Yes, yes, yes.
Actually demonstrated that on my students. My student just poked him in the arm, like, you know, he hit him here with the finger, and then he had like a real black and blue bruise there. My student, right? So next day, I think for the next 3 days, because we were in Hong Kong, my Sifu was going with us everywhere to some celebrations, to just visit schools, training, and every time when we meet someone, he would, Alex, that's the name of my student. Alex, come here, show him. He was presenting everyone, showing everyone the bruise that he made with this technique, you know.
Yeah.
It was funny.
One of my Sifu's favorite techniques to show was the cutting hand, and it's just, you know, and you cut with this. I don't know how many times my Sifu caused my arm to swell. Yeah, and it was funny because I was the youngest student for a long time, and there's been like one or two other students that didn't hang around for that didn't end up finishing anything, but he would always call me up whenever there was a demonstration that was needed. Like, hey, like one of the students, hey Sifu, how do you use this? Where's Will? Will, come here. Ah, oh, crap. I mean, and next thing you know, I'm being sent flying, or like he'll hit me and turn back and look at the other students, and I'm over there like, and everyone's just laughing, and Sifu's like, stop pretending. So, yeah, yeah. As we talked about before, you know, that was another level of like of master for back in the day. So
yeah, that's cool. You also use the Dajo.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes. So here's a funny thing. So Dajo, you know, like the alcohol with all the herbs. You know, you smell it and it smells like alcohol, right? Let me ask you this, and I'll explain why I'm asking. But when you put it on, what do people say you smell like?
Actually, they tell me we smell. There's a thing here in Germany. It's a how you say that in English? In Deutsch they call it Maggi. It's like, it's not soya sauce, but it's also to enhance flavor or something in food and stuff, you know. It's kind
of, is it sweet or anything, or no?
Not sweet, but like spices or something, you know, like.
Oh, okay. So the reason I asked that is at my job there's a running gag.
Yeah.
That whenever anyone smells syrup, more than likely I'm around. So for some reason, this strong alcohol smell, once it blends into my chemistry, it smells like I've been eating nothing but pancakes. So my old lieutenant would make a joke like, pancake, where the hell is Britt? Like, oh, hey, over here.
But
like, oh, of course, pancakes.
You know what else is funny? When you introduce people to the Dajo, at first you're like, wow, it smells strong. But everyone after a while says they like the smell. You know, everyone loves the smell.
Exactly. I've had a lot of people go, oh, you smell good. What kind of cologne is that? So yeah, there's the running joke at work. People can tell I've been hitting things whenever it smells like pancakes. So you've been hitting stuff again? Yeah. You know, my hands are all like bruised up and all that stuff. Like, oh, okay.
That's great. Yeah, the Dajo is very important, I think, to have.
Yeah.
Part of the training, you know, it's very important to
Yeah, my
Then
Sifu had a
food
my Sifu
future.
had a my Sifu had a bottle like this big, maybe a little bigger. I can't remember. That had been sitting there for 40 years.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a
And
long
you
time.
opened it and it went, oh.
I mean, I have actually did that joke from 2005, I think. That's my oldest. I still have not
And
much
you're
anymore.
making them, right?
Yeah, I make it also myself.
Nice.
But
Very
I
nice.
get the ingredients in Hong Kong. You
Mhm.
can't get them in Germany. You know, in
Yeah.
Germany don't have Chinatowns. We don't have like
Yeah.
Chinese. We have
Yeah.
Chinese people, but not so many like in England or maybe I could get the ingredients in Holland, Netherlands, because they have a Chinatown and a lot of Chinese people. But yeah, no chance. So I always get it in Hong Kong.
Yeah, what my Sifu does is he has these ingredients and he sits it in the pot or the canister or whatever you want to call it, and he just pours in like moonshine or other things. Obviously, the super strong alcohol.
Yeah.
And Sifu would hardly ever replace the herbs. He would just keep adding alcohol.
Same. I know.
So yeah, so like the herbs can just last, because they're being preserved in alcohol. So as long as you continue to put alcohol in there, like, so every day before I go to work, I unscrew, I unscrew the thing and I boop, screw back, put my blanket over it, because you don't want sunlight or light to hit it. And I go to work. And that's when I smell like pancakes. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, but that's I think it's an important part, and because especially in styles like we do, when we hit stuff,
Yeah.
you should know how to treat the damaged parts
Yeah.
of your body and stuff, So you don't want
Yeah.
to have like stiff fingers or painful joints when you get older, and
Mhm.
so far, I mean, I'm 50 now, but I don't have any problems with my joints or
That's
fingers.
impressive because I know you train hard. Lord knows I know. I've been watching you for how long now?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
I've been hitting stuff too, and yeah. The only thing that I got left is some marks, but only see them in the summer. When the sunshine catch some then I have all my knuckles, you will see they were all white.
Mhm.
But you don't see it like when it's cold, only in summertime.
Yeah, mine is, like I'm very pale, so everything looks red,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
You can tell you hitting stuff.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so right now, after the sad passing of your seafood, the school still continues?
No.
No.
So like I said before, the school is on my Sifu's property.
Yeah.
And the property, I believe, has since been sold. Obviously, there's not much you can do about that.
No, of course not. But maybe at
Now,
another place or something.
yeah, so we still try to meet up at some point. Obviously, some of us are real busy, like, my job doesn't really allow me to meet up a lot. But we do try to do like Zoom meetings rather often, do intensives, like with a bunch of people,
Yeah.
Zoom classes. Like I said, the main people like Chris Heinzman, my seeing, I'm sure you've seen his stuff.
Yeah.
If you ever want to talk to him, reach out to him. Again, a monster of a guy. He still teaches. He teaches quite a bit, and I would say he is the main hop guard instructor of our lineage.
Oh.
Again, I don't even teach.
Yeah, but I mean the question, the style is still being taught in.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
The style is still continuing.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I think you're not old yet. You know, when you get a bit older, then I think at some point you will start teaching too. You know, you should pass on the
I
knowledge. You know?
My Sifu was telling me about a conversation he was having with another one of his students, and another one of his students was asking to teach, and he knew quite a bit of the Tai Chi. He hadn't learned enough of the Hop Gar to teach Hop Gar, but he learned enough of the Tai Chi to teach.
Yeah.
And the student asked something along the line of, like, can I be, but am I at the level of a Sifu? You know, because I know the term Sifu is an odd term, especially in English. And, you know, like, is it a title or is it is it a honorific, you know, like that kind of stuff. And my Sifu said, Will knows the Hopgar system, but Will doesn't even want to teach, period. He's like, Will doesn't want to be called a Sifu. Like, I taught Tai Chi for about a year, and people were like, what do we call you? And I was like, call me Sihing. If you want to call me something, call me Sihing.
Yeah.
I was like, this, you know, boom, this is your Sifu, you know. And I remember my Sifu asked me, you know, about the term Sifu. And I was like, Sifu, I'm just not there yet. And he's like, well, of course you're not there. You're young. He's like, you might have the knowledge base, but everyone's going to make fun of you because a Sifu is supposed to be the old Chinese guy with the long white hair, you know, like the Pai Mei kind of thing. You know, he's like, you're too young for that title. You're too young for that title.
I mean, there are two there are two types of writing Sifu in Chinese, right? There's one which is literally means teacher father or father teacher, Sifu, teacher father, and then the other one is kind of like Sifu. Your Sifu you call Sifu, that's teacher father, but if I call your Sifu by his name, Ting Sifu, then the Sifu is written differently, and it means it's not the same. You know, there's two Sifus. And the other one is even like a taxi driver or
yes
would call him Sifu. Hey, Sifu, take me there. You know.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I mean. I would try to say.
Yeah.
But if you teach, once you teach, you are a Sifu. You can be a good Sifu or you can be a bad Sifu. You know.
That's
it doesn't say if you're
good,
you know, but that's what I'm trying to say. But just from the thing, you teach someone, then you're his teacher. You might teach him bad stuff, you know, but then you're a bad teacher. But you know what I mean, like, you know. But at that point, you're a teacher, and you can.
No, I got you.
You can know everything.
I got you.
And you don't teach, then you're not a teacher, right? You cannot be a teacher without teaching. You know, that's what I mean.
Yeah, and I've had people at work, you know, oh, you know, when are you going to teach me?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
If you maybe that's a good thing what your Sifu said, you know, when you start teaching when you see the right person for, you know.
Yeah, Sifu.
Someone that has really a big interest, you know. It's getting harder every year, you know, finding students willing, putting in the effort and the time and the dedication, because now they all see this UFC and MMA, and that's the way to go. That's where the money is at, and you know. But I think there will be a time when these traditional arts come back because people will realize, look, like that's what I love watching MMA and the training methods and stuff. But look now how, like just last weekend I watched it, and the way this dude broke his leg. Did you see that? wow, terrible, man. You know,
And
so that's is a trauma. That's a trauma right there. I mean, he probably never will throw a low kick anymore without
Mhm,
thinking about that. What happened, you know?
mhm. And then
So
trying to put his foot back down and it folds.
yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
Well, so speaking of the fighters, so my best friend, Clifton Davis, he's a professional fighter. He's one of the best fighters I've ever seen. Golden gloves, he was professional kickboxing, professional Muay Thai, all that kind of stuff. An
Nice.
absolute monster. I remember when we first met, it was in college, and he said he wanted to beat me up because I was a kung fu guy. And next thing you know, he's in my apartment and we're listening to Power Rangers. And he was like, "What happened?" But he asked to spar with me. And he said, "You were the first kung fu guy that ever said, okay." He said he never met a kung fu guy that was that willing to do it. And I mean, I'm not even going front. He whooped my tail. Oh my God, he whooped my tail. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. And he said, but what he liked about me was that I didn't blame myself, or I didn't blame my style. I blamed myself.
Yeah.
And he said from that point on, he saw me like constantly like, you know, like the gears moving. And each time we've sparred, he's noticed a big change in like my power and
Yeah.
technique and all that kind of stuff. In fact, he actually met my Sifu, and my Sifu thought the world of him. In fact, my Sifu would have him try to get him to come and spar with us so we could get really good
Yeah.
sparring experience. So that happened not too many times. But I'm looking to go visit him again. I mean, so we try to visit each other rather often. We talk pretty often as well, especially since he's moved away. But yeah, he was talking to some people about kung fu, and he said the only people's kung fu I respect is the kung fu of my best friend. And he said every other kung fu I've ever seen doesn't fight like that. It's all weird, you know, like he said, it's bad stuff, you know. He said, but all of a sudden you see them and they're doing exactly what you see them do. So I mean, that I thought that was a very big compliment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again, especially someone with the records that he has. So yeah, and again, my Sifu was very, like I said, pragmatic. I remember this. We were doing some drilling, some sparring, and my Sifu was like, what'd you just use? And we'd say the technique, and he'd go, try it like this. Okay, so we'll try it like that. What'd you think? I don't know, Sifu, I didn't really like it. Oh, okay, then don't worry about it. Oh, okay. And then, what did you just use? Try it like that. Well, how'd you like it? I actually like that better. All right, well then change it. Oh, all right. So, I mean, he did not mind when you had questions. Like I remember so many times, hey Sifu, if I remember when I first started learning from him, I asked about a certain combination. He was like, oh, that could never work. And then I was like, oh, okay. So I walked over and I went back to training. And next thing I know, out of the corner of my eye, he's doing the combination over and over that I asked him about. And then he's like, hey, Will, come here. All right. He did the combination on me. And he was like, that's not bad. You can keep it. Oh, okay. That was just him. He was just constantly like, again, I would go over to his house. I mowed his acre, like his 6-7 acre yard. You know, I'd be out there. It'd take me like 3-4 hours because of all the stuff on his yard. I'd be out there listening to my music, and I'm an opera singer, so I'm out there singing my opera while I'm, you know, mowing and all that stuff. And I come in and I'm just pouring sweat. And this happened all the time. Hey, Sifu, I'm about to get going. Hey, before you leave, come here. Oh God. Hey, do this. Okay. And then he'd hit me. And again, I go flying back. So, all right, come here. Let's do it again. Oh, okay. All right. And then he'd hit me again, but I wouldn't go as bad. Like I wouldn't get hit as hard.
Mhm.
Which one did you like more? I was like, well, I didn't like it, but the first one hurt a lot more. Oh, okay. Well, what was the second one? And he'd tell me, he's like, but don't worry about that one. Obviously, it didn't work too well. Oh, okay. And then other times, the exact opposite. Well, which one did you like more? And I'd be getting off the ground like, oh God, like, like Sifu, obviously the second one sent me flying. Okay, well, we're going to change what we do from now on to hit the second one. Oh, okay. That's fine. That was all the time. That was just how he was. He was a very, very, would this work in a real fight kind of thing. Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah. Again, very. I
mean, it's kind of like what my Sifu says. He said, I have no problem when you change something. Just make sure it's better.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Make sure it's better, then it's no problem.
Yeah, I remember asking Sifu about like the power generation in one technique, and he was like, no, because it changes it too much. He's like, it's not bad, and you can use it like that. He's like, but when you're doing the form, stick with this way of doing it. Oh, okay. He's like, but he's like, you can keep that, but make sure you're mainly working on this way. Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I remember just last week we were practicing a drill. A drill which then they asked me what's the application, because I have like 12 I took out like 12 techniques from the forms, and then we drill them, and they all learn these as single techniques, and then obviously I have them in 3 ways. I have them in the classical stances, the techniques in the classical way, then do the from a fighting stance, like 1 foot forward. But there's and then I noticed there's this one technique where you turn your body and then you have you raise your hand and have an uppercut like that, and at the same time you change your stance, and that change is actually a kick. But you couldn't do this the way you practice it, or it's in the forms, because you have to actually change. You can do the hand, but you have to use for the kick, you have to use the other leg. So ask me, so why in the form is like that, but when you do the application, you use the other leg. Said, the forms are just forms, and then you have to separate the technique.
Exactly.
The kick and the punch you have to separate in this case, there. But when you practice it for fighting, you have to do it the other way around. You just feel it, it makes more sense that way. So but so I can understand that. Yes. But we don't change the form now, and so.
Now I will say sometimes Sifu did change the form. It was very rare, very rare.
Yeah.
But sometimes he would. So there's it's not a running joke, but it's a running joke in the school, like, oh, you'll learn the form 7 different ways, like Sifu will sometimes, oh, I don't like those punches, take those out. Okay. Well, what do you want in there? Do this. Oh, okay. We'll do that. Well, how do you like it? I don't know, Sifu. I don't really like it that well. Give it a week. Continue to practice that for a week, and then let me know at the end, after a week. I don't know, Sifu. I don't really like it. Don't worry about it. Okay. I mean, that's just how he was.
That's great.
Yeah, he just wanted the kung fu to evolve. That was it.
Yeah. That's important. It's important.
I mean, when it would come to fighting. So did you happen to see those videos I posted of me and my Sihing doing some sparring?
Yes, yes, yes.
Like where we're chasing each other around and all that stuff. So that a lot of that is like the Muay Thai footwork, being able to like shoot in and catch those angles and everything. And obviously those are, you know, longhand techniques. Sifu was so happy when we posted those videos.
So you was watching these, yeah? That's
Yeah.
great.
Oh, he was right there. He was watching us. He's like, so when are you posting those?
Yeah,
I need to
remember
know.
that was like outside, right? Wasn't it? What was that outside?
No, those were inside. Those were inside the school.
Yeah, I remember something. You have like some videos that was inside the school.
Oh, there's quite a few videos of outside as well, absolutely. But as far as the sparring, those were inside the school, and he was like, "Oh, you need to post those like now."
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
So again, Sifu wanted the Kung Fu to look like the Kung Fu.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing with Sifu. He's like, well, why spend all that time training those techniques if you're not going to look like those techniques?
Yeah.
And then he would hear people say, well, we train like this, but we fight like that. He's like, well, then why waste your time? Like, there's a lot of people, and this isn't bad or good, it's just not what we do. A lot of people talk about the long range punches, like, oh, you only train the long range in the training, but when you fight, you shorten it. My Sifu was like, oh, well, then why train the long range? It's like, no. He said, can you shorten it? Of course you can. If the fight ends up getting to that point, then yes, shorten it, but it becomes a whole other technique.
Yeah.
He's like, if you're going to hit him with the long range stuff, hit him with the long range stuff.
Yeah.
And it all depends on just what you place emphasis on. And you've seen our footwork, how we, you know, how we go in, and that footwork makes it to where you can't back away. So like if we're striking, let's see, if we're here, like this is what I'm wanting to hit, and I do like, let's say a sochoi, okay?
Yeah.
So sochoi, this is the primary striking, right? For the sochoi, the forearm, you know, come through. But if you back up and I'm still chasing you, you're still exactly the same way.
Yes, yes, yes.
So even if you're backing up, but I'm still shooting in, you know, you're still catching that and, you know, going through.
Yeah.
So if your footwork, that again, like Sifu would always say, our hop guard was based on the Muay Thai. And the Muay Thai allows us to be able to use the long range striking without being like, oh, super open and like super slow.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Again, that's just a different facet of the style. So like you said, that's how we're able to use and fight using those techniques. It's because of that. So yeah.
That's a great achievement. I mean, you know, because you know, it's rare. We have to be honest. A lot of kung fu schools can't fight really. It's the truth,
Yeah.
and it's being exposed all the time, and that's why I'm trying to do interviews like and discussions like this, you know.
Yeah,
so
absolutely, absolutely.
You can check it out, you know. You have to. People can check it out. There's nothing to hide, you know. Whatever you said now, you know, there are the videos. They can see them fighting. I mean, I saw these videos. I'm not sure where they are, because I remember someone posted these on a forum, the links to it. I don't know if that was on YouTube. It's a long time ago, but that's how I knew about David Ching Sifu, about these Sanda or Sancho tournaments where they actually used white crane techniques, and you know, and that was, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And it's out there, you know, people can see it.
Yeah, that was my Sifu's crowning achievement, was the ability to actually fight with it.
Yeah, and not many have that.
Yeah. Now I will say this: in my job, Thankfully, I haven't had to go hands-on a lot, but
Yeah.
it's funny because a lot of the times I end up using more Tai Chi
Yeah, but
in my job. But that's also because I'm not trying to kill, you know, the person that I'm with. It's more subdue. Now there was one time a hop guard technique came out. I will say that, and
yeah.
the other guy was crying a lot. But more times than not, it was always Tai Chi that would come out,
Yeah.
like the Chi Na and that type of stuff from the Tai Chi.
I also work as security, and I had plenty of situations where I could, but it's more on controlling, like controlling bridges and bridge work and but it works, it works.
Yeah.
Work fine. It's different than going into a cage fighting
Yeah.
and getting into some ruffle thing, or how it is. It's all wild,
Yeah.
and it's totally
Yes.
different. It's not like two persons standing in front of each other and someone say fight. From that point on, you already neutralize a lot of
Yeah.
things, So
My Sifu towards with me and a couple other students, he started to focus a lot on the hard training. And what I mean is like, the conditioning.
yeah.
And my Sifu would say stuff like, what's the point of hitting them if you're not going to hurt them? And a lot of these techniques that what I've seen in my experience,
Yeah.
And me and Sifu would talk about it rather often, is a lot of these techniques actually aren't that bad, but the reason people can't use them is because they don't develop the proper strength and conditioning to be able to use them.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, to crowd. A beak, I think, is what it is. Like I've seen people try to use it, but they don't have the proper structure and strength to be able to crash into someone to be able to use it.
Right.
Like I remember we were taking someone into custody, and it was a big boy. It was a big boy, and I somehow I ended up touching him like this, and my hand went out like that. Next thing I know, I'm throwing him into the wall. And my partner was like, what the hell was that? Tai Chi. But, again, we train that. We train that a lot.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the proper stuff to utilize it, then what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, so you were talking about like this. Yeah. This is a specialty hand. A lot of Kung Fu, a lot of traditional martial arts don't use just the fist. Even then, the way we hit stuff is a little bit different. So we don't hit things like this. We hit things like that. Even that's different. Yeah. And doesn't mean better. It just means different. Yeah. But each thing has to be properly trained. Like, for example, the tiger claw. I know some people who have my Sifu's tiger claw was monstrous, and he didn't really train the tiger claw. It just came out with like all the the maki pai and all the gripping. Yeah. So it just developed. And other people, I would have them grab me, and I wouldn't feel it. And I've had some pretty big masters grab me, and I'm like, I don't feel it. And Sifu would pull me to the side and go, so what do you think? What do you think? I'm like, sorry, Sifu, I just didn't feel anything. He was like, that's what I thought, Oh, okay. Or, again, like for example, as we talked about before, we have in our style, we have one of the shorthands is kick. I think the Chinese term is tek, maybe.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think it's like a ridge hand. No, it's the bone that's right there. So if I can show, crap, stupid camera, but like if you can see that bone right there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit the table real quick. And that's training that bone for like precision striking.
Yeah.
A dim mock. Obviously it's not dim mock, but it's, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
I understand.
So when you do that type of stuff, my Sifu's hand was so developed, it was like a mound. And to the point where Sifu commented on mine, because I hit mine in a certain way, mine developed into not a mound, but almost like a blade. It's very sharp. And obviously two different, people develop differently.
Yeah.
But it's, you can't say you know it. You can't say you can use it, but you don't train it.
Yeah.
Like the finger jab. Yeah, I mean the finger jab could be fine to the eyes maybe, but even to hit someone and hurt someone in the throat, you still have to have some strength behind it, or else you're going to hurt yourself. I'm sorry, I'm really, really white, but but again, like if you're going to do that, you kind of got to be able to actually hurt them, or else you're just going to piss them off.
Exactly, make more angry. And
exactly, like the tiger claw here. Like if you don't know how to grab them, if you don't have the strength to grab them, you're just going to piss them off. And then at that point, you have a much worse problem.
That's true.
So like the Charlie Foot people are really, really good with this. I mean, you're gonna. Yeah, I mean, they're going to hurt someone severely with that if they train it. I mean, my Sifu would tell me all the time how much he loved that, because my Sifu was actually also a Charlie Foot man.
I saw people doing push-ups on the
exactly. And if I remember correctly, one of Pavel's students does like this.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy trains the hell out of that move, out of that hand shape. So he's going to hurt someone.
Yeah.
But then you'll have people like, oh, if I do this, shut up. Shut up. Like, no. Like I remember there was this was when I was a little different. I wasn't as calm or nice as I was now. There was a guy that was like, oh, if I hit you in the shoulder like this, I forgot what he said. So I was like, all right, hit me. So he does this, and I take my shoulder and I kind of like go forward with it. His fingers bend back, and he's like on the ground, like, like this. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? And so I take my fingers and shove it into his shoulder, and he's like, over there, crying.
Yeah, we have this one exercise that I actually learned in the Philippines from a befriended master there, and he teaches a style called 5 Ancestor fist, and
yes.
they have and they have a exercise where you take a pole. I think it's a 12-foot pole. It's really long, and then you hold it at the end, and then you always
yeah, I've seen you do that.
Yeah, so this is you have to try it, man. I mean, I got the pole itself, the weight is not more than 4 or 5 pounds, but it's the leverage that makes it heavy. To hold it, first of all, you need to try to hold it like this, and then keep the point at the same spot, and then just push down and make it vibrate, like this. That gives also a lot of strength in the fingers.
No doubt. Yeah, absolutely, no doubt.
And a good core power, stability, and I felt like this always helped me a lot when I was working in security and had to control people or subdue people. It's really makes you strong, and so we have that. I took that on as an additional exercise in our training, but yeah. Everyone has to learn that. And I have a really, really long It's actually a rail,
Mhm.
a wooden rail, but quite thick. So you really have to grab it. And that's like the hardest, the highest level of that exercise. I have different kind of poles, but this is good. Even, I'm not a big fan of knife attack techniques. I said, if you have a chance and can grab the wrist and with two hands, and so he can't move his wrist anymore, and still cut or whatever. But if you have the right strength and grab someone's wrist like that, and then that's maybe save a life.
My Sifu, I remember talking to him about Tiger Claw. And he said, if you do not have the power to hurt them while grabbing them, don't even worry about grabbing them. He said, because, like, I'm sure you've heard the old adage of he who grabs is grabbed himself.
Yeah, it's true.
So he would say, if you're not able to hurt them while just holding on to them, then what's the point? Just might as well keep both hands to be able to respond.
Yeah.
And then that could go also into Hop-Gar's philosophy on clawing versus, say, something like Hung-Gar. Like we don't like Hop-Gar because of the long hand and a constant swinging doesn't want to grab and lock.
Yeah.
It wants to grab and claw, grab and like rake, or just not even grab, just straight up rake.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of joint locking in Hop-Gar, at least in our lineage. There is, obviously there is. There's in every system is going to have some joint locking.
Yeah.
But it's not something that's a main like talked about point, simply because again it kind of goes against the system idea. So yeah.
I could continue for who knows how long.
Yeah. Yeah.
I soon have to go to work. I see.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
No, I'm totally enjoying this. What we do here.
Well, I'm glad.
Conversation is super, super, super nice, and whether be it another podcast or not, we should definitely,
absolutely
do that
yeah.
sometime.
Just hit me up. Just hit me up, man.
It's great fun.
Yeah.
And can exchange some more stuff. But I want to thank you taking the time.
No, thank you for hitting me up.
Yeah. No. Well, once I saw your comment, it was like just like, boom, oh man, yeah, gotta do this, man.
Yeah.
So
Well, thank you.
very nice and very.
And I know my Sifu would appreciate you speaking so highly of his system.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame I never get to meet him or to know him, but through you and his other students, his legacy will carry on, and that's a great thing, So
I hope.
It is. I'm sure.
Well, thanks, man.
I'm pretty much sure. Great students. Great Sifu, great students. There's a truth to it, And
thanks, man.
And yeah, man. Thanks again. I appreciate you taking the time. And
no problem.